All right, my camera's off a bit. Sorry, my monitor's moved a bit. My camera's screwy, but all right. So welcome to the weekly distribution demo. Today I'm going to be demoing the certificates authentication for Postgres that Ian had done. So I figured I'd start out with just bringing up regular omnibus without any of the certificate authentication, and we can see what that looks like. Let me go ahead and get that started. Oh, I should share screen too. Sorry. Let me get that going. I'll give that a minute or so to start up. That will bring up Omnibus. I am actually using the package built off of the MR. So I'm not certain that the change is actually in master yet or into the latest Docker image yet. So I thought I'd done a test last night and I thought it was successful, but I wasn't sure if it was or not. So I decided to move back to the Docker container from the branch. All right. And in here, we'll see the container actually start up. In a minute or so after, or 2 minutes, 3 minutes after that, we'll have it fully up and running. There we go. And while that's still starting up, I'll jump into the container. Give it a little bit more time, make sure it gets far enough where I can get into the DB console. For those also, the VS Code window that's on the side here, this is the actual Docker Compose file that I'm using. And right now I do have the additional parameters for turn on the authentication turned off. In fact, I removed the certificates earlier so we can generate them fresh and when we restart. All right, by now the Postgres should be up and running. Yeah, looks like we're good. Okay. And hopefully at some point here, the GitLab Rails will start up and we'll be able to continue. Yeah, we're fully up and running. There we go, finally. All right, see the database connections, specifically the SSL connections. We look at a database table. So we see a number of connections, but none of them are using the certificates. They're just not even using SSL at this point. They're just plain connections with password authentication. So that's what you normally see today. Now, let's go ahead and generate our certificates. Oh, that's slash. All right, all those shell scripts, all they really did is just run OpenSSH. Excuse me, OpenSSL to create the CSR and then get it signed by the CA that was created in the first command. So all fairly standard OpenSSL commands. Just creates a number of certificates and a number of keys. So nothing magical there. And then if we enable all these guys, I'll restart the container. Redis cannot connect. Oh, it's still shut down. Okay, that's why. One of the things I did find when I was setting up this demo is our documentation treats this value here, the cert auth addresses, as a basically a JSON blob. So it looks like a JSON blob in the config file, but here I actually had to put it all in a single line and quote it to be able to get it to be recognized. I tried escaping it with backslashes and a variety of other things, and this is the only way I was able to get it to be recognized within the compose file. So just a word of warning for anybody that's looking to do this. Okay, that's time back up. While we're waiting, why don't we jump back in the container. Nothing yet. Actually, I think I'm seeing.
Yeah, it looks like it's unhappy
Issue.
about what you
Yeah, I
were
think
just
it's,
describing.
it looks like it's complaining. I didn't change anything here. Looked like it was complaining about the cert auth addresses line here. Still quoted with everything correctly. All right, let's question, is it restarting? I think it's restarting the container each time. Yeah. Okay. I have to stream the errors so we can catch it, instead of having it scroll off. Well, that's going. Another thing I noticed last night, it seemed like Docker was oh, that is one of the branch. Okay. It looked like Docker was, even though I told it to use the branch, it was stuck on the latest tag for some reason, but that looks like that's working now. Come on. There's the sequence for history.
There was an error there about undefined method each for string. There it is.
Yep.
So it is expecting that certain auth addresses to be a hash.
I'm sorry, to be a what?
Hash or mash, depending on how technical you want to get, but not a
Okay.
string. It is expecting it to be an object that it can iterate over. So
And
it should be
I ran it multiple times like this yesterday, and it seemed to be fine. So if I go back to, are you saying just without the quotes?
Yeah,
Yeah, that, okay.
that's how I would expect it to work.
And that, I thought I tried that yesterday and I thought it bombed on me. So I'll give that a try again.
I'm not saying it didn't. I'm just saying I'd expect it to work this way.
I'm not saying you're wrong either. I don't know. It just seemed like my experience yesterday is I had to make it a string to get it to work correctly. And at one point I had stringified the next two, the %w options to make arrays. I thought, okay, well, this is a issue, and that failed too. So it's like, okay, it was an interesting diversion into trying to understand like what needed to be quoted and what didn't.
This may be one of those instances where the fact that we're passing this through environment just confuses the poor thing.
That was my feeling when I started getting the demo running. It's just what we have documented was actually correct, but then trying to understand how the different environments interpreted those values and represented them was a little questionable sometimes.
An alternative method for the future is to actually just directly mount the GitLab.rb file And then
True.
you can actually edit that and just run reconfigure.
That's true. Still,
Have we lost the full method above where the error message was? Because I saw some red message fly by.
yeah, no, we should be able to get back to it. Yeah, I saw some red too. Well, that's if it was within 10,000 lines.
Saying it was red coded, so we'll know it when we see it.
Yep. I'm up on my limit here. That's it. Okay, let me restart
Okay.
and I'll just
Before
kill it
you
when
kill the container,
you go
we
ahead.
can always check the rendered file.
Well, I think part of the problem is the containers restart so quickly. I'd not be able to get
Okay.
in there and
But we should be able to check the content of GitLab.rb. As long as the container is up and past the point where it renders that file, we should be able to check the content, whether it's in the middle of the startup or not. We should be able to
Also-
Docker CP the file out.
You're also mounting the logs as an external volume, so you can just look at those files and not have to worry about getting.
that's true.
fallout.
I do have my external, so we can look at that here in a second. I'll take half a moment to run. Is that going to be under the Rails? Or
Probably reconfigured might be the best bet.
is there a reconfigure? Oh, there is a reconfigure there. '20th, last one. That might be more interesting, but let's. I miss oh, I am. I'm missing a close price. Somewhere it got deleted.
I get the feeling that if that's code, code was being helpful.
All right, that should be restarting. Come on. There it goes. Okay, databases should be up by now since we're doing our migrations. Is it fully up and running yet? Oh, Tanner just exited out. Could not connect to server. That might be me trying to run the DB console. Okay, what are we failing on the migrations here? It seems like it's not connected to, it's almost like database is not running at all at any point. We have a Postgres we do. That's the config, no? That's gonna be inside the container. (2018-26), that's right. Oh, invalid mass cert. What?
The key should be a CIDR, not just an IP address.
Really? That's interesting. That worked. Yeah, it seemed to be working yesterday. I think our documentation, well, that documentation is IP address. It's interesting. Okay, we should probably update that.
I wonder what that generated file looks like. If we just had a render failure.
Well, once the container is up and stable, you can take a look at it real quick. Watch it, see if it dies again.
Well, it's a rendered config file, so as long as the thing's running at all, you should be able to try it.
Well, a bit of the problem is that the container is exiting out and tilt is restarting the container entirely. It does look like we're moving forward again. Okay, good.
Yeah, it just fired through the Postgres configuration, so you should be able to try and grab that now.
All right. So let's start right here.
Yeah, I think that can be a specific IP address, but it can't be a network address without the subnet mask.
Okay. I don't know what I want to call this range for the moment, but okay. So we're staying up. That's good. I suppose I could have put in 127.0.0.1 in place of the 0.0.0 for that key. That should have worked.
Yeah, we may hit that trust line first before we get to the host SSL. So we may not, this may not even kick in right now.
That's going. Still in the reconfigure. Looks like it.
Yeah, because this is actually set for host SSL, it should be taking action for any connection that attempts SSL, whether or not you're hitting the trusts for localhost or just host or anything else. So long as we're actively attempting SSL instead of upgrade to SSL, this should be tripping.
True.
There we go.
And we did get this.
And there we go. Now we've got our SSL information. It's more specifically the client DN. I was wondering too if I should just cut this out and would put it into the documentation, because the documentation doesn't show any connections with the client DN. I was thinking that might be a worthwhile thing to do.
That'd be valuable.
Yeah, I'll copy it into the notes for now, and then we can work on getting it into the documentation. Actually, get 26 rows also.
You probably don't need all of them, but
Well, we can whittle it down some, but it's just, I'll capture everything and then we can decide how much we put in. That's ugly, but at least it's saved. I can grab it later on and work on that and take it back out of here. So, and that's about all I really had. Is there any questions or anything anybody wants to see? Actually, we can actually see that it actually is coming up now, and boom. So, any questions or anything anybody wants me to try? Not hearing anything. I think that's about it. I know we're slightly over time. Sorry about that, but that's all I had for the demo. And I hope everybody has a good week.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.